What's up, Crash Nation? This is Jonathan Wood. We're live here on YouTube. For all of our listeners that are listening on Spotify, we thank you all for joining in. This is episode number 28 on the Crash It podcast. We've been gone for a couple weeks, just some things that's been going on. We've been trying to update our equipment. We've got some new equipment in. We've got a couple sponsors to the podcast. We missed out on Blizzard Bash 2022. So we're going to talk a little bit about Blizzard Bash, and we're going to give you guys some information on the original Team OMM and how it got started. Today, joining with me, I've got Patrick Wood, Jacob Wood, Jessie Wood, Chode, Andy, and Joshua Wood. So, and then later on, we're going to hear from Curt Turpin. So, what do you guys think of Blizzard Bash? Just give me some pointers on, like, just some highlights of Blizzard Bash, that some things that you guys stuck out to you. Overall, like, something for me is whenever we got there on Thursday, we went and watched, and something that stuck out to me immediately is just the amount of people that were in the building on a Thursday night. We've been up there several years, and Dustin Jordan was sitting next to me, and it was just crazy the amount of people that was. What the freak? It was crazy the amount of people that was in the building. So what'd you
Yeah,
guys think?
I thought the show overall was awesome. The Heats Thursday night was awesome. Friday night was awesome. The action packed. Seemed like there was a lot of hard hits, no quick heats, and we got out of there quick on Thursday night and Friday night. It seemed like we wasn't there all night. That was probably my worst performance out there personally. But other than that, I'm glad we got through the heat. Our team did. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I was really happy. That's what you go out there to do, get through the heat. And I was happy. Our fans were there supporting us, so that was really good. But that's all I got to say about it.
Something I notice every year, the builds just seem to going from the next level to the next level. I can remember back in 2016, I was looking back at through the pictures of your guys' cars, and just the level of builds. It seems like every year it just takes another step forward. The track overall, I thought they did a really good job on the track. It looked like it was a little rough at times, but when you have that much motor and the type of tires people are running, you're going to get that. But overall, man, like you were saying, Jacob, the action on the track, that was one of the best shows I felt like I've ever watched. Something that stuck out to me, Caddy Nation, when they were driving as a team, like in their feature. I didn't get to watch their heat, but in the feature, man, it looked like they lost Trey pretty early, but it looked like to me they would send someone down in the corner of the track and just pick on someone, and they would come back, and the other end of the track was pretty open. They had it like blocked off. There was some cars that were covered like the middle of the track, but there was an alley where cars could drive through, and they would send someone down, and the second someone chased the car back through that little hole in the center of the track, whether it be Rob or Teddy P, or they would just close that hole, and they would just be 3-on-1, and before the person knew what they got into, it was over for them before they could even recover from it. Like, you'd see the drivers looking around like, oh shoot, I just fell into that trap. And for me personally, that was the best team driving I've ever seen on the track. But man, talk about an emotional ride for Team OMM. I mean, we're gonna talk to Curt a little bit later on, but whenever I got there, Jacob and all them had already went through tech, and I got there on early Thursday, and I thought they were messing with me. They had Curt's car loaded up, and they said Curt got loaded, and uh, he got loaded at first, but they ended up letting him run. But talk about seeing someone just that looked demoralized. I mean, his emotions were at like he was just bummed out because he spent over 200 hours working on that car and all the money to get it there, and to get told you're getting loaded. You could just tell he was in a just all the emotion. I mean, he was wearing it on his sleeve. And but something stuck out to me about that. I got there, and Curt's, even though he got loaded, he was telling you guys like, what can I do to help? What do you guys need help with to get your cars through tech? And to me, that impressed me. A lot of guys would just said, I'm just gonna go home or whatever, but not Curt. He stuck around there and helped everyone out, and we finally got his car to pass tech with Jacob. But
Yeah, Curt about left. He said he was so bummed out. He loaded his car up, and he said they were about ready to go home. But yeah, just like you said, he stuck around and was helping us out. And there was some stuff that went down. I don't really know why it changed, but I was in the vendor hall, and I seen I seen the team pull in that got loaded. One of the teams that got loaded pull in, and I went over and asked them what was going on, and they said that they were giving them a chance to get back in the show. So, in a few words, I said, "Well, if they get a chance, then I think Curt should get a chance too." And all this happened about 2:15 in the afternoon on Friday. And Tim Clark, the promoter of Smash It, said, "Well, you got till 3 o'clock to get Curt's car ready to hit the track." And I said, "Well, we need at least till 3:15 or 3:30." And he said, "No, you don't have that long." And I said, "Well, 3:15." He said, "All right, 3:15. If he has to cut one thing, he's getting loaded again. It's got to be ready to hit the track. Fluids, everything. It's got to get ready to get put up in the barn." So I didn't know where my damn golf cart was, so I ran from the vendor hall all the way down to the trailer, called Curt. He was luckily there, got his car unloaded. We were able to put it back together and get it up there. And yeah, like you said, that's a roller coaster of emotion. When I called him, he didn't believe me. I said, "Well, get your car unloaded there. You're going to get to run." He's like, "What?" I said, "Get your damn car unloaded, get it ready to run." So he's like, "Okay." And that's when I took off running, and we had a lot of help. Um, all the Garnet Hill crew was down there. Ryan Chewing, shit, I don't even know. There were so many people running around. All of our guys were down there helping, and we was able to get it all put back together.
yeah, let's I want to get your guys' take on something for Blizzard Bash. I mean, so you guys made the A main, and you're pulling out on the track, and so kind of tell me what goes through someone's head. What goes through your head when you see this?
That right there is what it's all about. All them people that cheering for us and supporting us. I mean, you just go through some of them people. I mean, that's pure joy right there. Standing up. I mean, freaking just yelling and screaming. It's awesome. That's the reason why we do it right there.
Yeah, no, we got I don't know if I'm missing on here, and I hear some background noise, but yeah, we got the best crowd in the whole place. It's pretty awesome pulling onto the track and hearing everybody yelling, knowing that there's a lot of people that have your back. It's for me, it's even cooler in the pits whenever you pull out back from a heat and you get back there and everybody's willing to help and work on your cars and shit like that. That to me is that's some hard friendships that are made through those times. So yeah, we can't be more thankful for all the support we have.
All right, so let's talk about how OMM got started. Uh, it all started with our grandpa, Kenny Wood. That's where our passion for demolition derby started. And when we were growing up as kids, I mean, many kids that are maybe watching this stream or maybe watching or listening from Spotify, or watching in the stands at their local derby, uh, the passion starts when you first get introduced to it. What kid doesn't like going out and destroying something? We destroyed stuff as kids on accident, but once you told us, hey, you can go out there and smash a car on purpose, I mean, for us that was like a dream come true. But we got to travel around like when we were younger, watching our grandpa, our dad, and our uncles out there just smoking people. And that, when we were growing up, that contributed to what we did at home. We used to have, I don't know if anyone remembers, like the old pool tables, the miniature pool tables. Well, we would smash up Hot Wheel cars and try to have our own little derby track with one of those little pool tables. And it all depended on, who was controlling the track. We would just flip it, side to side kind of, and let the cars roll from one end of the track to the other and knock the other cars off. But whenever you're doing that, and then it just transpired to grandpa having a salvage yard. And when you tell a kid, hey, if you can get this car running and go out and have fun with it, uh, we got a little extra step. We had it really good when we were growing up. To me, that's where I feel like a lot of us got our passion from and our introduction into demolition derby. Any of you guys can step in and add to that if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were all real little. I don't know how many of us actually remember watching the derbies when they were still in their prime. I think they quit in '91. And Uncle Dwayne had run a few derbies later on, California. But like you said, we go down in the bottom, as we call it, in the salvage yard, and just pick out a car and see if we could get it to run, or if it did already run, fix whatever it needed fixed, and then we just drive them around, and then eventually we got to just tearing into each other. That's how we started. We didn't even start on a track. We just went down in the salvage yard and just started beating on each other.
I remember when we went down, Jacob had a car. Josh had a little Chevy Beretta. Andy, you were there. I can't remember what you were in, but I came down and I was supposed to be at Dad's, but I ended up walking down to the bottom because you could hear the cars just going AWOL down there. Get all the way down there, and Jake starts going through these cars, and he's like, there's like a little, I can't remember what that car was. It was a little Chevy or something like that. He's like, there's not a dent in this car, Pat. Just jump in it and let's see what you can do. All right. Well, we made that little figure-8 track right there around them cars over where that little shed was at down at the bottom. Jumped in that car and we're just having a blast with it. Jacob jumps in with me and showed me how to use the e-brake. to get around them corners. I was barely even tall enough to touch the pedals. I remember we had a blast with that car, got done, everything else, and Grandpa ended up coming down the hill. I've never seen him so mad a day in his life, but I guess he brought that car down there for a customer of his. We're just leaving it down there to, I'm not sure for what, but it wasn't his car. It was the customer's. It was completely, totally fine. Nothing wrong with it. Well, by the time we got done with it, I think Grandpa had to buy him a new car because there wasn't a straight panel left.
Yeah,
By the time we got done with that car.
he wasn't too happy about that, especially that big old wagon we had up there. He had that motor for sale, and I think we ran it out of oil, and it was knocking by the time we was done with it. I know we ripped the exhaust off that old wagon on a tree stump and just kept on a rocking and a rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some good times down there in the bottom, and that's kind of, where we all cut our teeth in learning on how to drive, and it was between the bottom and the field out there. And anytime we could get multiple cars running, we were always racing or derbying each other. And the whole term rubbing is racing, that was what we lived by back in the day. Especially, the bump and run, we were doing that down the bottom. So, but that's kind of how we got started, introduced to the sport of figure eight and demolition derby. And actually, I think it was Jacob and Andy who got the run before any of us. Do you guys remember the first time you pulled on the track?
Well, Jesse got to run first because he's the oldest. I think he ran 2 derbies before we did, but I remember.
What was your first derby at, Jesse?
The first one I had was in 2000. I was 15. Old Ford Tempo. Me and Dad built that old car in his shop out there on MM. I think it was M or MM. It was one of them roads down in the back country. But I ran Eldon. It was a real rainy night. Of course, Dad, he wanted to keep that windshield in it, so it made it interesting. But that was the very first night that I ever ran a car. And I think I accidentally hurt somebody that night. Didn't mean to, but I was going after them wits and ready to nail Tammy really hard, and the car got out in front of me, and I couldn't stop and hit him in the driver's door, which now today, we got grater blades and everything to protect drivers. And thankfully, because that was a pretty bad deal. But it was a very exciting first night getting to run in a car. And then we was all hyped. It was fun once everybody else got joined into it.
Yeah, and I've been talking to several people across the country, and it's amazing to me how, like, some people say, we show up to Derby with 6 different people. We just know who we're going to run with and stuff like that. But so back when we were all running, when we pulled into the track, everybody knew we were going to run together because we painted our cars orange. Grandpa and all them, they painted their cars white and orange or orange and white. So that's what the tradition we kept going with. And I remember my first time derbying, it was Jacob and Joshua and Dad and I think Uncle Dwayne. And I said, who I go after? And they said, anything that's not orange, go after them. Like that, there was no other plan. It was just, if they weren't orange, go after them. And so I thought that, it's always been neat just showing up with a big old clan of orange cars. And that's kind of how, we all got introduced to it.
Yeah, I can remember our first derby. We were asking Uncle Dwayne and Uncle Jack, what do we need to do? And they both said the same thing. Just pick a corner and work out of that corner. And, anybody comes over there, you just beat on them. Grandpa had a different philosophy. He says, you just hit whoever's not with you as hard as you can, as fast as you can, as many times as you can until he's done. Then you go find somebody else. And that's kind of philosophy I took, like, for the most part.
So was there any memorable moments for you guys when you first started? Like any feelings or thoughts that went through your head when you're pulling on the track for the first time, or any like experience that you experienced when you were building your first car, like any roadblocks that you guys might have ran into?
I got one for you. I remember there was one time that we were sitting in the shop, me, Jake, and Andy. Jonathan or Josh, one of them might have been up there with us, but we was all building our cars for that next night. We had them all set up, and Andy's like, man, I really just wished I could build a car. I need to get a car. So me and Jake, we threw together and went and found Andy a car. And I think we had that thing built in like 3-4 hours completely fully. And Andy was able to run with us that next day. It was a blast. We was having all kinds of fun besides all the accidents and burns, you know, later down the road. But it was a blast.
I'd say that was one of my biggest issues when I was younger. Is I decided to run either the night before or the day of. Seemed like we were running over to Grandpa's, asking which car we could take. All of us getting together inside the shop. Patrick's at it again. We got to build a car all night long just so he can run tomorrow. I think it was Eldon that I was finishing the paint and taking the plastics off as I was pulling onto the track. But then one day, it was last minute getting in there, and we couldn't find a trailer for a car to fit in or fit on. So Grandpa decided to use the stock trailer, and he literally pulled over to the tractor and was taking the Jerry Dan and pushing this car together so it'd shrink together to fit inside the stock car or stock trailer. And we ended up going to the figure 8 in the stock trailer. That was a blast.
Yeah, I don't remember my first derby, honestly. I've been hit in the head too many times, I guess. I draw a blank every time I try to think about, you know, but fuck, it's been 20 years, so that's a long time, a lot of derbies in between. But one memory that sticks out to me, we used to build at the shop, and you know, back in them days, 16, 17 years old, you know, we'd have old guys that used to run that would gravel road at night, and they would stop by the shop and just to come in there and look and see what we were doing when we were working on these little cars. And memory that sticks out to me, old Eric Stickney stopped in one night. Them guys, him and his brother were just hammered. We didn't even really know anything about it. He walks around the car and looks it over. He said, damn, you boys really can't fucking weld. And he was dead serious. I just started laughing, and he said, no, I'm serious. You guys suck at welding. And, you know, back then we didn't have MIG welders. We built our cars with freaking old stick welders. You get the old rods that had moisture in them, and they would stick to the, you know, if we're trying to weld doors or trying to put bumpers on. And so that was a huge roadblock for us when we first started. Now, with these new welders, I mean, shit, Curt could weld my car better than I could back in that when we first started.
Yeah, I was on the younger side, so I probably have a little bit different take than the rest of these guys. I was late to the game. They already had, you know, 4 or 5 years under their belts. So you know, it was the same process. You had to go through Grandpa to get cars. That was always nerve-wracking. Dad would never ask for us. So, you know, that was the biggest hurdle for me is mustering up enough balls to go ask Grandpa if I could use a car. And then after that, him or Dad, I don't care what the problem was, they would not help me for jack shit. So one of my favorite memories was just anytime something would go wrong, I'd ask Uncle Do, and he'd always give me the story of, I'm not fixing your car again, or I'm not gonna help you this time. But he'd always end up down there helping me and fixing my car and getting it ready. So that's one of the things that really stands out to me is just Uncle Dew being such a big part of me getting started. I remember, just like Patrick was saying, we get these old field cars and we were fucking rough on them. We had some of the best and the dirtiest races down there in the bottom, and some cars got tore up. Some dang good cars got tore up down there. Well, my first car got tore up down there, and I wasn't going to be able to make it. I think I ripped some studs off, and back in the day, I think I broke an axle. Back in the day, if you broke an axle, you just scrapped the car. And Uncle Dew, he helped me get an axle and some studs back in it. So he actually got my first car to the track. So that's my memory.
Yeah, you guys were lucky. Uncle Dwayne would help you, but when me and Jacob and Jessie were building up there at the shop, anytime we ever got in a roadblock and we had to ask for help, we got now I'm only going to show you boys this one time. And that was it. We only got shown one time. We had to figure it out from there. So with Uncle Dwayne helping you guys got lucky there.
Oh,
I don't know if it was you guys. It may have just been me. He may have just liked me.
Might have just been you.
well, I can't really say that because it's kind of weird how that works out. Because Dad, he wouldn't help me much. He'd give me the same medicine that your dad would give you guys. But Jack, I'll give it to him. Anytime I was up there at the garage by myself, working on a car, he would actually help out. And Henry Stark, I remember one time he come out and helped, because in Versailles, when Jake got pushed into me, we're going to say, and T-boned me in the center, I still think he did that on purpose, but it knocked that door all the way in, almost the driver's seat. And Henry, he was out there trying to pull it out with a pry bar, and Jack's sitting there behind him with the wrecker, going to make it a lot easier. And of course, Henry had to show off a little bit. They end up Henry slipping and falling and busting his butt while trying to pull the door out. That's a pretty good memory because I never stopped laughing on that one.
To say my first builds, I still remember them, but Dad kind of played the same treatment on me as he did the older guys. He always told me I procrastinated too much to learn the good stuff. So it was always calling Jacob, Jonathan, and Josh, please, boys, just come up here and help me. Next car I build, we'll start early. That never happened. But I remember Dad's biggest thing was, don't touch my toolbox and don't use impacts. If you want to cut something off, there's a handsaw off to the side, and don't touch the torch. Well, I thought I was going to get smart one day and grab the torch to cut the front bumper off the car. That's the day I realized what a gas shock was. I think Joshua probably remembers that quite well when that thing exploded. That thing went away. So the whole front bumper came off, just 2 cuts. But yeah, that was one of Dad's biggest rules. Don't touch the impacts. You want to take a wheel off and make a 4-way, and then make a hacksaw if you want to cut something. And that's how I remember building cars. Is nothing power. It was all by hand. Everything.
I got one more for you. Jake and Andy will remember this one. I know for sure. When we built our first big cars and how proud we was building those cars. And then Dad and Jack got the bright idea, and Grandpa, to take them down to the bottom field and derby them up for us down by the pond, if you guys remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Watched them go around. That's whenever Grandpa found out I didn't have tubes in my tires.
Yep. So that's kind of how we got started. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we get back, we're going to kind of talk about when we started figure eighting. And we're trying to make a name for ourselves because we're living in the limelight of our grandpas and uncles and dads. And we're trying to make a name for ourselves. And we'll talk about that and talk about some of our rivals that we get into, and talk about, kind of the transition of being drivers to the promoting side. And we're also going to catch up with Curt. I think he's getting ready to call in soon.
Lucky Sevens Promotions is a premier motorsport promotion company specializing in demolition derby and figure eight racing. We've got over 20 years of motorsport entertainment under our belts. We are a driver's first organization. We strive to put on the most competitive, fair, and fun experience for drivers while still providing a fun and engaging experience for our fans. If you're interested in bringing motorsport entertainment to your event venue, please contact Lucky Sevens Promotions. We will be thrilled to discuss various entertainment options we can provide. Check us out on Facebook and LuckySevensPromotions.com. Lucky Sevens is always willing to add to our array of sponsorship partners. If you are in any way interested in becoming an advertising partner, do not hesitate to contact our staff. We would be happy to assist you in creating an excellent marketing venture for your company. We have a vast portfolio of sponsorship packages to fit any budget. So if you're looking for a fun, family-filled activity, check out Lucky Sevens Promotion. It's a show that you will not want to miss. 2022 was a smashing success. We ask that you join us in making 2023 even bigger and better. See everybody in 2023.
Ray's Lawn and Landscaping. We offer affordable full lawn care services with landscaping, from simple mowing to designing your dream lawn. Let us do the work so you can enjoy your time during the spring, summer, and fall months. When it's cold and snowy outside, give us a call for all your snow removal services to help keep your family or your customers safe. Don't break your back or your bank. Residential or commercial property, give us a call. We are fully insured for your safety and ours. Ray's Lawn and Landscaping is located in Eldon, Missouri. Give us a call, like us on Facebook. From the driveway to the flower beds, the grass in between. At Ray's Lawn and Landscaping, we have the experience, the staff, and the equipment to get the job done right the first time. For your next project or facelift to your property, give Ray's Lawn and Landscaping a call today.
Put on the show that the fans wanted to see.
So Curt, how'd you get started with demolition derby and stuff?
Just because I just seen it in the fair, like at the fair, and my dad had the junkyard and had an old Dodge Shadow that I could run, and I was just doing it because it was like $500 to win.
So when did you start running?
Shoot, I don't even remember. It's been so long ago, like in 2000.
So you started in 2000, and when you first started, did you start derbying like before figure eighting came about, or how'd that work for you?
No, I just did the figure eights. That's it, because I was more in the race cars than the figure eights was. They was derbying and it was a lot cheaper. I didn't do the big cars or anything like that. That took more people to help.
So you started with the figure eight, and you were pretty good when like in the figure eight. How was it always like that? Were you good at first, or was that just later on?
No, I think I ran one car one of the first times for like 12 times. I didn't win anything. I didn't win nothing for a long time. That was kind of frustrating, but
Yeah, so you didn't win nothing for a while, and there was one year that, what was it? You were running like a Honda or something, that little black two-door car that was what was that thing?
that would have been the Tiburon probably.
Yeah,
But
like
that was like in
everywhere you
2000.
went. What?
Oh yeah, I did have a little Civic that was like, I took it everywhere. And then I ended up.
You talking about the
just
Buick? The one that he raced for like 2 years, black one, 4-door.
Nah, I was talking about the
Yeah, that
little
was
two-door that we
that
couldn't catch him in.
was probably the hatchback Civic,
Yeah,
because it was big.
that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah,
That
I
year
ran
that
that
you.
thing.
So you were
That was
running
fun.
that two-door. You ran the two-door hatchback Civic, and I remember we were all running by that time, and you're really hard to beat. And I think that's the year that you won the point series in that car. Is that right, Curt?
That could have been right. I'm not positive, but I remember running that car a lot though, because it did win a few. But the main thing, one that stands out to me running that car, I was up at Columbia, Boone County, and I got stuck on the tire. I was waving at old Troy. He blasted me and knocked me off the tire. And I think I still ended up like second or third that night. That was a good car.
And what was your favorite car that you ever ran? Like, do you have a car that you look for in the figure eight or demolition
yeah.
derby, or is there, what do you like?
Well, in the figure eight, I always look for the hatchback Civics, but they're just so they can't take the abuse. You can't hardly run them anymore. Then definitely I like to run the vans in the gut and goes. What do you mean?
Well, I know you like the vans. Kurt's known for running the vans, and when he's in a van, one thing I've got to give you is every time I see you in a van, it seems like you just, you drive out there and you're always there at the end. It don't matter how many cars are coming after you. It just seems like you're gonna be there at the end. And I think that's the benefit of the vans. I think that's why you've won the point series for Lucky Sevens 2 years in a row, because the vans. But
Yeah, they for sure had something to do with it.
so do you remember like when we all started coming up, and what's it like seeing like 10 orange cars pulling to the pit gates?
Well, when you pulled up and seen all the Woods boys there, you was like, "Yep, there's all the competition."
Because like when we started, there was like nowadays there's a lot more. It seems like there's a lot more cars that are gonna be there to win, like it's anybody's race. But back then there was like 20 cars that you see, those 20 cars that show up every night, or 10 cars that you like, one of them guys are gonna win. Um, is that kind of the way you felt back in the day too?
Always, always.
What's your most memorable derby, Curt?
Shoot, I don't even know. I would say I like them all.
Like them
Curt,
all, baby.
I got a question for you, Curt. How do you feel about these? How the direction of the figure eight? How do you feel about all these cars?
Oh, it's just like racing.
Evolves,
they
doesn't it?
Yep. Just
have
like
any
racing.
rivals?
They make a bomb.
Do you have any rivals in the figure eight world?
Oh no, I like everybody.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good answer.
If you want to be the
That
best, you
answer
gotta be
was
the best.
expected. I think everyone likes you, Curt.
So,
They could,
Curt,
I guess.
when you were what?
Curt said they could like him.
Yeah.
He should show up in a tux in every figure eight from now on.
Yeah, I will say that that was the first time that I've ever got a message from somebody requesting not to have a figure eight on a certain day so their brother could be at their wedding. Curt's sister messaged me and Joshua like a year in advance to not schedule a figure eight on her wedding day so Curt wouldn't have to leave.
Yeah, she was pretty serious about that too.
So what's it like to did the tux? So everybody that's listening that don't know, Curt ran a figure eight with us, and he shows up and jumps in his car fresh out of his sister's wedding, and he's in a tux. So did the tux get dirty, or was it muddy, or what did the tux look afterwards?
Yeah, it was definitely muddy. It was, the white shirt was, I don't know if they would have got the stains out of it, but when I took the tux back, I said, yeah, it's a little dirty. And he's like, that just means you had fun.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Like, did you get it dry clean before? But apparently not.
Nope, I took it right back to him.
So we've been talking about Orange Mafia Motorsports and how it come about, and so I think how Orange Mafia Motorsports, like the OMM name, started. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think we were at one of the figure eight races, and we all placed in the top four, and I think a local newspaper came down and said, like, the Orange Mafia does it again or something like that. And that's, I think Jacob and Josh was like, oh, that's cool. We're going to use that name from now on. And is that correct with the Orange Mafia?
Scotty Cook.
No, yeah, I think that's right. I think it was Tom Collins or
Scotty Cook. He was the announcer at the Eldon figure eight when we had Brett Holt and Tyler Ray and
See, this is our historian. This is why we keep him around, because he always remembers. So Scotty Cook, the famous sprint car announcer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He announced that figure eight for us at one time, and I think you're right on the top four. Swept the top four, and he says, "Yeah, the Orange Mafia something," and somebody caught it, and we're like, "That sounds That sounds awesome. So it stuck.
It was in the paper though, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the announcer started it and the newspaper ran with it.
Gotti was at Eldon because
Mhm.
that race was at Eldon. I remember. I
Yep.
didn't remember him.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
was
the
gonna say-
monsoon race.
No, it wasn't that one.
No, it was before that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say myself. It had to be in Eldon because every time you went to Eldon back in the day, there was no chance of winning. It was always orange card.
Yeah, I think that came along just as I was quitting because when Brett Holt started running, I stopped because I was helping him build his cars. And then that's when they came up with that. I think that was the last one.
Yeah, the best nicknames are nicknames that you don't make for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and that we tried the nicknames for ourselves type deal. There was a song called "Every Dog Has Its Day" by Toby Keith. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he named every type of dog you could think of, and we all put it on our cars because at that time we were going and watching all these races, circle track races, and they'd be like the Duck, Howard Hall, and Ding Dong, Danny Crane, and stuff like that. We were like, man, we need to make nicknames for ourselves so we get famous someday. And so I put like guard dog on my thing, and I think there was a hot dog and I don't know, watchdog, and I was trying to go back through pictures and find out what dog everybody was, but there's a junkyard dog.
I found mine. I found mine on an old picture. It said Lucky Dog on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I just remember walking in the shop one day and I think Andy and Jacob were in there and they're like, "Hey, you're the hot dog. You got a hot head." I was like, "Oh, all right, I'll roll with it."
And Curt, he got his name for just laying the hammer down.
I just
mean,
junked everything I drove.
Curt, when did the hammer come about? Like that was before I announced.
I'm pretty sure that happened at Blizzard Bash.
I think did you say Blizzard Bash?
Yeah. Right around when full track that old boy.
He said it was a Blizzard Bash when he full tracked that old boy. And that's all he does at Blizzard Bash. So how'd that come along for our listeners? You guys got into Blizzard Bash in 2016. And I believe that was the first year for compact teams. And it was Jacob, Joshua, and Curt and Haley, if I remember right. So Joshua and Jacob, did you guys reach out to Curt, or how'd that go about becoming a team?
Hell, I don't know. I don't remember. I remember Josh was just saying one day, "Hey, we got in." I didn't even actually think it was serious, but so I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, we went up there to watch, what was that, 2015? We're like, we're gonna do this next year. Like we're coming up here and running. I don't know, we may have just had too many Pepsis in us, but I was serious about it. So I started buying stuff. Jacob never really bought anything. I don't know. I can't remember if Curt was up there with us in 2015 or not. But
No,
that's
I
kind of
wasn't.
where we decided. Were you with us, Curt? I don't think so.
No. Nope.
Yeah, do you remember how you kind of got brought on? I think we were at that time. I remember whenever we first started figure eight, and I know me and you had our, we beefed it out on the track a couple of times, traded some punches, but by then we were on pretty good terms, and we had mutual enemies at that point. But I don't know. I want to say we were just running together in derbies trying to take out the Johnson boys or something like that.
Yeah, I remember you guys running Eldon that summer prior, and you guys got top 3, and they were saying like OMM starting it off, carrying some momentum going into Blizzard Bash. And I remember seeing a post I think Jessica or Kayla made with all 3 guys by your cars, and I think Curt went up there and won state fair or something that year. And but I think that's kind of how it came about. Is but now anyone mentions OMM, they think of the Blizzard Bash derbies of, I would say, like Jacob, Joshua, and Curt. That's who they think of. And but yeah, I remember back in the day we had a lot of different rivals, and actually some of our good friends now are who we had rivalries with, and it wasn't nothing to see us have conversations after the race, like on the track or off the track with different drivers. And I think everyone that we ever had any beef with, we're pretty much friends with them nowadays.
I know you don't want to flip a quarter with Josh because you lose every time.
What'd you say?
There was a couple times we tied on the derby, and we flipped the coin for the trophy. He won both times.
Oh, well,
I think there was 2. Like there was 2 times me and Curt tied for first, and we had 2 coin flips, and I'm 2-0 on them.
I didn't want to burst your bubble, but Kurt's just not good at coin flips, period, apparently. Because I think he lost the coin flip to Dylan White, too, if my memory serves. No, did he win that one? Oh, I stand corrected.
No, you were talking about rivals, and that goes back to when we all started. And I always say, for a derby like promotion group or like Lucky Sevens to be successful, and you can see it in figure eights, you need rivalries. That's what keeps the drivers coming back and hungry. If everybody's friends, I mean, it's not good for the fans. It's not good for the drivers. They don't push themselves. We started back in the day against the Wits, and then it evolved to different people, different local people. And just because you're rivals with someone on the track, don't mean you have to hate them off the track. And that's the cool thing about our figure eight guys. There's guys that don't like each other on the track, but you'll still see them help each other off the track. And I think you need that. Everybody don't have to be buddies, and it just makes it better for the fans.
On the track, I had 3 big rivals. The only problem with it is 2 of them are with us right now, Jacob and Joshua. Every time, it didn't matter if I came in second or third, Joshua would have that face right there and just shaking his head going, I still beat you. I still beat you. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we had our own rivals, just us guys on the track. It wasn't so much about trying to take each other out. It was whoever's going to win to be the first one across the finish line. And then the first one back to Uncle Jack so we could watch the video of whoever's winning so we could have the bragging rights up until the next run. But the only one I could really think of, like outside of family, who I rivaled with would have been Corey Basinger. He just always such a hothead. Off the track, we could talk, everything else, and have a good time. But every time I got on the track, it wouldn't matter if he was in front of me or not. He would sit in the center and wait for me and just smack.
that was in Versailles boys too. They would wait in the corners for us, and we'd still outdrive them.
Yeah, I didn't do as many derbies as I have figure eights. I think I probably ran 2 derbies, and the rest of everything I've ever ran has been figure eights. But I'd say my biggest rivalry would probably be Joshua. Jacob, I just always tried to catch him and never could. Joshua. I just want to spin him out so that I can see how mad he'd get as he's getting flipped around. But I'd say they all learned not to spin me out because I think I was faster in reverse than I was in drive.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about, rivalries and stuff is one day we were at Versailles and they were putting a bounty on us. I think it was maybe Kendall or someone put a bounty on all the orange cars. And I think that was one of Patrick's first races. And we all just pointed over there and said, "Hey, Patrick, that guy said he's going to take you out. You better beat him to it." And the green flag drops and he just hammered down and put him right into the wall right off the bat. And it might not even have been, it was just a random car we picked out.
Y'all did that to me at every figure eight. Not just that one, it was every one. Hey, that guy's got it going for you. You better take him out. Well, most of the time I'd either get them or they'd get me. But yeah, I remember that first figure eight because I got him into the wall hard. Made about 3 laps. And that's when they used to have the burns and everything for the tough truck. And I was just in that little Fiesta and I got stuck right on top of it till Jacob decided to get me off of it. And I don't know if this year, if it was still intentional of Jacob getting me off or accidental just coming around the corner.
Well, I can tell you if it was Jake, it was intentional.
No, I don't think it was because he was pretty mad when we came out of the pits that I was there.
Yeah, me and Jake, we had our feuds a couple times out there. I mean, it was fun though. We'd go out there, beat the tar out of each other, and then he'd outrun me. I mean, and then that's where I ended up just becoming a blocker. I don't think I ever topped 4th place, but when the guys were out there, I'd just become the blocker and let them fly. Then we started getting called cheaters.
You are all cheaters.
I think everybody's a cheater on this podcast now, right? But so 2016 Blizzard Bash, how'd that feel for you guys to bring home the win? I feel like after that's when the whole country's learned about OMM. I think Jacob and Joshua both told me like they had, thousands of Facebook friend requests maybe from that first win out there. I mean, it's awesome to win a show, but to win on that stage, how's that feel?
There ain't nothing like it. I can tell you, it was pretty awesome. And like you said, there's Facebook and all kinds of stuff. People, you almost come famous for a little while, it seems like. And I tell you what, whenever Haley took out Corey there at the end, the raw emotion that comes over you after, winning a show like that, it's just awesome. And it really don't sink in until probably a week or two later how big of a show that was. And I don't know, unexplainable. Because just the we put a motor in my car, and back then that was a big deal, and it's just a culmination of a lot of work, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, the chills that went through when the horn blew when she took him out, it was crazy. Like you said, the emotions, that it was just like almost chills where it made me float out of the car. And I think I had a broke foot.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It put us on the map for sure, but it was probably one of the best things that, in the Derby career, and maybe one of the worst things, because just chasing that feeling and spending more money chasing it. But there's a lot of good times and memories made along the way chasing that again.
I forgot about you breaking your foot, Curt. Man, he went out after the heat. He got out of the car and He's like, dude, my ankle was like messed up, my foot. And he freaking took his shoe off, and he had like a big bruise on his foot and everything. And they said, "You gonna drive me out there again?" He said, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna drive again." I think he rigged him up something, didn't he?
No, I just tightened my boot up.
So after winning that like Blizzard Bash, do you guys feel a pressure to perform again like that? Like, do you guys feel a pressure to, succeed again or bring home another win on another big stage? Or do you guys feel any pressure from that? Or is it's happened and no one can take it from us, and we're just gonna keep going out there and crashing cars, as Curt says?
Yeah, I wish they made Viagra for Derby performance. No, yeah. I mean, it seems like it's all self-applied pressure. It's not, there's not. I mean, there's fantasy that that doesn't really mean anything, but there's nothing. The families and fans. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of pressure coming from them. I think it's all self-applied, at least from my angle. But just a lot of the pressure is just from I don't want to let teammates down. I don't want to let myself down. That's just for me, though, speaking for myself.
Yeah, that's
a
how
lot.
I feel.
Yeah, it's a lot different for just going to a show, and if you break something stupid, it's you're mad, but it's no big deal. It's just your car. But whenever you break something up there that's stupid or silly, and you just feel like shit. It just feels like you let 3 other people down. So and nobody likes that feeling. So I would say that's more pressure than any kind of pressure we get from what you would say the outside. Other than my son puts a ton of pressure on me, but I can deal with that.
So talk about the transition. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. What started you guys to say, you know what, we're gonna step away from the derbying so much or figure eighting so much, and we're gonna start putting on shows?
Well, Jacob actually took, the first steps. So he kind of pulled me in after what him and Ernie started, kind of went up in flames with just different reasons, I think. But yeah, I mean, it was just time. We seen, the figure eight sport going one way, and we wanted it to go another, and we just thought it was time. It was a good time to step in and start, making the changes that we wanted to see.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that Dad started kind of, and God rest his soul, Bruce. We just didn't want it to go up in flames, the whole sport. And that kind of looked like where it was going. Nothing against Gary or nothing like that. I think he kind of got bored with it, tired of it. And me and Josh were just seeing things that could have been improved or could have been better. And we were ready to invest in the sport and make it better. So
Yeah, it took a lot more than I thought to move from the driver's seat to the mound, or not even the mound, but behind in the pits. It's we certainly miss it, that's for sure. But it's I I want to say the sport's moving in the right direction now, especially with some things we got coming up.
Yeah, and I was talking to some people, and they're not necessarily from Missouri. I kind of spoke to some people out, you know, Topeka, Kansas. I don't really remember their names, but they're from like the north. I think they said they're from like North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota area, judging by some of the accents and stuff. But they were telling me, they felt like that Derby in their areas, it's kind of dying because of just it's harder to find cars and stuff, and everyone's wanting to run big shows, and the county fair stuff's kind of dying off. And I started telling them about, I think you guys are doing something really good with the figure eight, and you talk to these people around Missouri, and they realize that, okay, I can go, the 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder cars, front wheel drives, they're not going away. There's more and more being produced, and you can take a car, you might have $1,000 in it, 1,000 to 1,500 to $2,000, even if you go even higher with $3,000. But if you run a 20 show series or however many shows, a lot of these guys are finding out they can put a lot of money in they can put money into a good build, a good setup. They're building parts, they're buying parts, they're making their cars last all year long, and they're finding out that they can really, I want to say that they can still go out and scratch the itch of crashing into someone every now and then, but they're also getting to go have fun every weekend and make some money at it possibly. And we're seeing families just, I think the sport's going in the right direction for me. I see that it's just keep growing, and what you guys are doing with the whole transponder system and the plans that you guys have shared with me that I'll let you guys bring to light someday. I think it's going in the right direction, and I can't wait for 2023. Curt, what do you feel like? What's your plans for like 2023?
I'm not sure. Probably just run the gut and goes again. And I was actually thinking about doing a little racing.
Like stock car?
Yep. Because that itch never goes away.
Yeah. Well, we wish you luck into that. And Curt, do you have anyone you want to thank for just being there for you, or any sponsors or anything? I mean, you've put together the last 2 years, I mean, numerous wins, and the amount of shows and travel time that you got in at the time you're in the shop, I'm sure it's just crazy.
No, there ain't too many people. I really think it'd just be my dad, but teaching me everything I knowed. Kara, she kind of tries to help me, but puts up with me. So I'd probably have to thank her.
Well, we thank you for coming on the podcast with us today.
Right on. Appreciate it, guys.
The one thing that that I want to say to all the listeners, every now and then Spotify will, they'll give me analytics on some of the stuff that we've been doing here on the podcast, and I got an award for being an enthusiast, the Crash Tip podcast. And what that is it's basically when you post a new recording. It's the amount of time that someone goes and listens to your podcast. And they also said that it's the top 20% of the most shared podcasts and the top 15% of the most listened to podcast and followed. So I can't thank you guys enough. We're going to keep trying to make it bigger and better. I'm trying to iron out some things with this system. And I just appreciate everybody sharing the content, and we're trying to make it bigger and better. If you're listening to this and you want to get on the podcast and share a story or talk about some memories of the Demolition Derby or anything, hit me up on the Crashed It Facebook page or comment on the video. We'd love to hear from you. But you guys have anything else you want to add?
Nope. I would, while we're on here, shout out everybody that helped us out at Blizzard Bash, everybody that came and cheered for us, supported us, whether you guys was in the stands wearing a hat or a shirt, whether you was in the pits helping us, we appreciate it. My youngest brother, Justin, he works on the road, and he came in and he was commenting on how many people he's not really a derby guy, and he was walking around the arena and he just seen everybody's shirts and hats, and he just thought that was awesome that everybody supported us. And I just wanted to comment on that and tell everybody thank you.
Yeah, I think it's crazy the amount of when you fill a whole section up with OMM stuff. It's just crazy that picture I had on here earlier. It's crazy to see just all the support and all the help that it's awesome to see everybody that shows up and shows out for OMM when we're away like that. And we appreciate it with Lucky Sevens, when all the fans and drivers show up. I know my Snapchat's been going crazy. You guys got some dedicated drivers. James Fisher's been sending me some stuff that he's been working on for his new stuff, and so both I just get Snapchats all day long of all the stuff that's coming out, and they keep asking me when you guys are going to post rules and stuff, and I said I don't know. No, I'm sure they'll get to you.
Rules should be out before Christmas. That's the plan. We just had our Lucky Sevens strategic planning. So there'll be more to come from that, and we'll start putting some stuff out for 2023. I got a question for the what'd you call these people on here? The originals. When are they going to get back in cars? I mean, God dang, guys, it's been like years. Like, you've been growing beards, you've been hanging out in the mountains. When are you gonna get back in a car?
Oh, that's for Patrick and Jessie, because me and Andy both drove this year. So
Hey, I got some different plans for next year.
What are the plans?
Well, hopefully circle track.
Wes Jordan just sent me a Snapchat. He said, "Yep, you're right. Doors suck." He's doing doors right now.
What about you, Patrick?
Well, I did some trading. Traded your dad actually Colorado for that race car, the bomber he's got. So I'm gonna put my fingers in it for a little bit, see what it's like. But it's a lot of fun to help you guys at the track.
So you guys gonna split the stock car stuff?
Well, he's got Dad's old 44, and I've got Jack's old bomber K4. So I've got to get a motor and stuff for it, but time will tell when I get a motor and tranny and stuff put in it. And just been working on Dad's car here recently, trying to get it ready.
So you guys will be derbing each other.
And your dad.
No, I'll just watch Dad pass me. It's probably about-
I'm
Bye,
just,
Uncle Jack. See ya.
I'm just gonna be packing the track, you know, as they go around me.
No, that's something we're gonna try this year. Because, like I said, I do enjoy coming and helping you guys at the track and being a flagger and that kind of stuff. Well, I might build a car this year for a figure eight or two. I don't know. Kind of have to see how the summer rolls. See how the dirt track, circle track treats us.
Cool. Be good to see you guys
Just
out
get-
there.
Yep, just get your pocketbooks ready.
I think that's any type of sport with four wheels anymore.
Oh yeah.
Even the figure eights and stuff used to be. I remember when we started, figure eights were cheap. You could be in a car and, with the stuff Grandpa had and what we had our hands on, a couple $100 and you're on the track. Try to put together a couple $100 car now, you may make your first lap. Maybe. That was a gut and go special there.
Yeah, there's still good cars out there. I seen a Cavalier on Marketplace for $250 the other day. I shared it on my Snapchat story. I'm sure someone went and bought it. So, but you guys got any more last words or anything?
Excited for 2023 to see how it rolls.
I'm getting the podcast like drivers schedule put together. That'll be out with the drivers that have reached out to me, and we're gonna put out a schedule, and I'm gonna figure out how to get this commercial thing rolling and stuff like that. I apologize to my sponsors for not working today, but the first one I knew it was gonna have some hiccups here and there. So we appreciate everybody listening in, and thank you for joining us on the Crashed It podcast. Like I always say, go out there and send it.